5 acres, that's a big parcel, but not as big as the other one, on a beach, right on the beach in Playa Grande, Costa Rica. It's across the estuary from the top town there, Tamarindo, where the other house is. And it's 30 minutes by car to get to Tamarindo, or 2 minutes by boat to cross the estuary. So it's a lot easier by boat. The entire area is a marine sanctuary. If you imagine some of this land right in here, everything's a marine sanctuary for these turtles, and it's surrounded by national park. And besides being the main Pacific nesting beach of the leatherback turtles, it's also like one of the world's top surfing destinations. So you got turtles, surfers, and a beautiful beach that looks like a deserted island. So this is looking at it from the top. That's the land right there. That's all built out Tamarindo. Tamarindo can't build out anymore because there's a river on each side without a bridge. This is a little housing development on Playa Grande, and right next door is where we're going to be. And the rest of this here is all undeveloped at this point. So you're literally within a 2-minute walk of everything green you see here is national park, and everything on the beach is national park, and the water is a national park, and the estuary is a national park. It's all national park full of amazing wildlife. So the historic context is that the guy who developed that whole housing development saved this for last for a gated condominium community, started selling lots about 10 years ago, and then the environmentalists showed up and said, no, you can't do this. And a whole battle erupted, and the battle was finally resolved with the government buying 75 meters of buffer zone between the development and the beach to leave it natural as part of the natural park and keep the human lights away from the turtles because the lights confuse the turtles. And they paid $500 a square meter for that land to get that buffer zone. And the developer won the right to build the remaining land, and so now the entitlements are getting finished. $700K that we're paying for this is about $25 a square meter, so it's like a 20th of what the government paid for that buffer, and it's also 6 times less than a lot for sale right up the way a little bit. So we know we're getting a great deal. We've got the we've got the discount in there. If we just carved out the lots, did the condo paperwork, put a fence around this thing, a little gatehouse, we could easily sell these lots for a total of $2 million or more on a little over $1 million in. So it's kind of nice, and so I penciled that out and told my wife about it, and she goes, honey, what about the turtles? And I went, oh, I didn't really say that live, did I? Okay, but that was my feeling, like, oh yeah, well, what are we gonna do about the turtles? And so I literally, I felt sick about it. And so I went and I meditated, and I asked a turtle in my meditation, I said, if we could do something better for you than just staying away from this beach you've been coming to for 200 million years, what would it be? And the turtle's answer was so simple. He said, don't just come see me, come help me. And I went, oh, okay, so I'm gonna create a housing development of 14 villas and condominium that's all about saving the turtles, okay? So that's how Turtles First was born. They were here first, and if we developed 14 conventional villas, or if we sold lots and other people did, that would really hurt the turtles, and so I don't want that to happen. I really want to help the turtles. So they were here first, Turtles First. So we're designing a coherently managed gated community that's all about rentals, and it's all about every guest who comes being invited to help engage in saving the turtles. So we're going to be all about programs that save the turtles, teach you about saving the turtles. There's lots of ways to help. And we think we can bring $100,000 a year and 10,000 hours of volunteer effort to this beach, saving turtles, and that's only a tiny piece of people's vacations and a little nightly turtle tax, okay? It's already a great beach, so people are gonna wanna come there anyway, but we think that by turtle theming it, we're not only gonna do something good, but we're gonna make more money than if we didn't turtle theme it. So it's about trying to align human nature with Mother Nature. And I sort of went, so, and the environmentalists are just gonna go, how do I even argue with you anymore, right? They can't, right? We're trumping them, right? I hate to use that word now, but that's what we're doing, right? And it's really about the turtles, right? So we're gonna build 14 villas instead of just selling lots, because we have to control this thing. We are designing the villas to be optimized for rentals, not for long-term habitation. You'll see that in a minute. We're gonna hold the 2 closest to the beach ourselves as our operating center for checking in guests and reservations and the main resort pools and operations and so forth. We're gonna manage all the rentals, so when people buy these villas, if we sell the villas, they'll buy a villa and it's turnkey. We're gonna manage the whole thing. We're going to have a condo legal structure which helps sort of bake in protections for the turtles and how they're going to be treated. And we can further ensure that they're treated properly with 24/7, 365 supervision and guided activities rather than people just tromping on the beach. So basically, we're going to protect the turtles, and people are going to have once-in-a-lifetime vacations, and they're going to do something that's eco-activism, eco-doism, not eco-viewism. And in doing that, it's more memorable than just going to the beach. Trust me, people go to the Galapagos or Africa to have this kind of experience. These turtles are the size of a Volkswagen. They weigh 2,000 pounds. Okay, they're huge. So we could sell 12 of these villas out of 14 and cover all our costs and have free and clear title the last 2 and a nice little resort operation. This is kind of our vision for what things look like. Simple tropical luxury. It's very Balinese style. Villa suites around a shared courtyard. And so then I thought, well, what if the rooms were around the courtyard and there was a little covered walkway around the outside of the courtyard between the rooms, and we ended up with sort of a shape like that a little bit. And so this is the main entry. This isn't a final, this is really preliminary, but these are living rooms, and each of these is a bedroom suite with an outside shower and nice size, really luxurious. So the key there is that each bedroom suite can be locked out for flexibility. So what we have here is a design where we can market this on hotel channels as rooms. We can market this on Airbnb and home rental channels as a villa. We can do both, and we're optimized for both. And so if you just are renting individual rooms in a particular villa, the courtyard's shared, and if someone wants to rent the whole villa, they get their own private courtyard. It costs a little more. But basically structurally optimizing the design for both hotel rental channels and for villa rental channels, to me that's like a key step in maximizing the value of the business in the box, right? Because we can then market 2 places instead of just 1. It's like $250 an hour there for skilled labor, so even the stepping stones, we're just gonna custom cast them out of concrete and they'll probably look like turtles. So competitive differentiation, I mentioned at the beginning, it's really about competitive strategy to me. Like, I want to get every bed booked every night at this place and have insane nightly rates and make a ton of money on the income, because that's the end goal, right? It's not the value of the property. The end goal is the income, and somebody will multiply the income by some cap rate factor and tell me what the value is, right? So we're going to monopolize a national park location. We're the only gated community that's going to be on Playa Grande. No one's going to get to build another one, we don't think. We have this unique flex design villa that we think is a very powerful concept. We have a turnkey condotel management model that we think is valuable because most of the condos there are just individually managed separately by people. We're going to do a private water taxi, so you're going to be able to hail on your hailing app on your phone and get a little water taxi to do that 2-minute trip across the estuary to Tamarindo instead of driving 30 minutes. We've got our unique resort theming, which I think is very powerful, and we're going to be really helping the turtles, which of course is part of my goal. And to me, that part of the goal is really about doing something that's more important than me and my investors and my family. It's about helping the planet, because we are really screwing this planet up, and we all have to do something, and that's what I'm doing. The other thing is I realized as we started to design these courtyard villas that if it works out right, we're going to have we're going to have like turtles from space, because the outline starts to look like a turtle. And so I said, well, why don't we keep edging it towards looking like a turtle? Because that's kind of unique in the world to be like a signature floor plan, like Turtles First has turtle floor plans. And at that point, we say we're going to go get satellite images and go to National Geographic and Architectural Digest and wherever we can and talk it up and do a big marketing storm. That's how we're going to get higher rates than other people on the beach, right? So typical beach rentals there are quite profitable, I know, because I've been in that business in the same town now for several years. We think we should far exceed the norms, but I penciled the project out at area norms, just to be conservative. If you want to see a preview of that project, go online to turtlesfirst.com. It's a preview site. It's really preliminary and crude and doesn't have a whole lot of information, but use the access code here to preview to get in. What we're doing is kind of sensitive, and so we're kind of keeping it a little private there, and so that's why you have to use a little password. But I'd be happy to tell you more about that. Let's talk about the money on that project, because that where it gets kind of interesting, and this is going to be like a case study for you guys. Right? So it's about a $10 million project, not counting financing costs or points or any of that kind of stuff. It's about $1 million to get the land, entitle it, do all the designs, permits, all the engineering. It's about another $1 million for the common areas, infrastructure, all of the shared improvements, gates, fences, water pipes. And it's about $8 million to construct these 14 villas. So you got about $10 million total project. And if you do that, you just build all the villas and hold them, you're going to get a good $2 million of NOI out of that $10 million, which is not too bad. Upside to maybe 3 if we get the kind of room rates that we really want. And so I go, okay, if you spend $10 million and get $3 million a year out of it, that's not a bad investment, right? Where am I going to get $10 million? Anybody want to write a check, right? So that's sort of where I went, okay, I've got this great plan now, and I think it's really brilliant. And all my friends are like, and other real estate people are like, yeah, that's great. So how do I finance that? Well, I picked up the phone, I called Tom, I said, help me! And Tom said, well, come have a meeting, let's talk, right? He didn't even make me buy him a lunch, gosh. Anyway, here's where we've gotten so far in working through this, and because it's now moving pretty quick. The phase 1, which is the $1 million for the land and the entitlements and the design and the permitting, we're gonna do that almost like a typical private money kind of deal, 12% for bridge debt. It's probably gonna be 9 months. We might give people a bonus, like you'll get 12% even though it's 9 months instead of 12 months. I've also convinced the seller to do financing with quarterly payments, so that at 6% rate defers the 12% money we need, right? So we sort of stretch that out over the course of the 9 months. And the end result of this is that we get these entitled lots worth $2 million that we then raise a bunch more money for to build on, right? So phase 2, we could either raise 10 million, including taking out the phase 1 and paying that back, and build all these villas and get 2 million NOI or more, maybe 3, and exit in the 25 million, maybe 30 million range to a hotel operator. That would be the exit plan for that. You always need an exit plan, right? The other option we have is if instead of building all these 14 villas in one fell swoop and optimizing it, and the crew goes from one to the next one, if we just built a couple of them and then sold those, and then built a few more and sold those, and built a few more and sold those, you don't need as much capital to do that at the worst case, right? So we could do that project with $5 million, but that involves selling 12 of the 14 villas, and so the NOI for us doesn't become 2 million or 3, it becomes 600K, because we only have 2 of the villas left and the rights to manage the rentals on the other ones, and we just get a management fee and stuff like that, right? So at that point, your exit might be a $6 million exit to a smaller hotel operator, but this would be after you've already repaid the $5 million. So it's like you've repaid the $5 million and the profit on it and everything else, and now you got another $6 million value asset that you're gonna exit with. The villas, if we go this route, and we don't know yet whether we're gonna do this or this, but if we go this route, these villas are gonna be priced at about $1 million. So they're not cheap villas, they are nice villas, 4,000 square foot, foo-foo homes. Every bedroom has its own ensuite bathroom and so on, nice stone and what have you. They're gonna have probably a 10% target cap rate, and that's using conservative nightly rates. When I pencil it out at the rates that the boutique cachet accommodations near us have, it goes up to like a 15 cap. So there's upside there for everybody involved.
In your slide, you need 8 million to build 14, so that's almost 600K each.
Yeah.
Plus your land and your time, but you are going to sell for 1 million. So
Yeah.
how much profit is that?
The profit's enough to get you the other villas and the rest of the land, right, and the rights. The play here is not about the real estate, okay? It comes back to the first thing I said. The play here is about owning that business at the end. The business at the end might only own 2 villas, but it owns the rights to run 14 villas, right? And it's getting a management fee off every one of those rentals. And it's managing the housekeeping and the maintenance. And it's like doing a McDonald's thing, so you have known quality and everything's predictable, right? But yeah, it's not a huge profit on the villa sales. The huge profit comes from running it. It comes from the cash flow from running it, right? So if I take 5 million in to do these, and then I pay 5 million back, and a bunch of preferences and profit, and my investors are all happy, and I have a $6 million asset at the end, that worked out pretty good, right? And the houses, the 2 villas, aren't the thing worth $6 million at the end. The thing that's worth $6 million at the end is the business of running all 14 and a brand that's out there called Turtles First that people think of, the first thing they think of is save the turtles, let's go, honey, right? And so,
Are you able to estimate the time, that how long it will take to complete the project? This is your
oh yeah, it's about a 3-year project.
So how did you secure the property? Do you have an option? Did
Oh,
you buy it?